What's going on, everybody? I hope you're all well, and welcome back to Dragon Age Origins. And we have a pretty good episode today. Today we are finally going to head to Orzammar, but before we head to Orzammar, we do have a new camp supply to dip into here. Let's talk to Lieutenant Cadram.
On your order, Grey Warden.
Do you need anything?
The Jarl was generous, but rushed. Certain areas could see improvement. We're a mercenary force, Warden. Much of our equipment is self-financed. Were you to commit additional funds, we'd upgrade as we saw the need.
Additional funds, you say? Well, off camera in between episodes, I did go ahead and hit my money-making method a bunch of times. We have almost 1,000 sovereigns, so let's see what we can go ahead and do for the Denerim mercenary group. 10 in coins for Harleyman's Knights. Let's give them 30 sovereigns. We'll go ahead and give them another 30. What do you guys think? One more 30? How do you feel about that, Cadram?
Very generous, Warden. If you need staff after the battle, keep us in mind.
He's trying to go for future employment. We'll do one more time. That's over like 120 sovereigns that we just gave him, so...
You'll have the best equipped force since, well, ever.
That's what I like to hear. But it's going to take. Hell of a blight. Right, now all that being said, we are going to head to Orzammar. I know that I initially said that I was going to make little, like, rounds in the camp after the last episode, but nobody really had any dialogue for us. But we burned most of it, so... nothing really left to do but head into the Frostbacks again. We already took care of the little ambush that was waiting for us, and we talked to most of the people out front, I believe. I'll go ahead and do like another round, just in case. But I think we already talked to most of the merchants, too. I know we talked to the one guy when we did Sten's quest. We already did the apprentice we had to fight here. Now, there are a couple quests we need to look out for once we're in Orzammar, but we'll kind of just run into those as we progress through the story. Gotta look for Ambassador Gainley for the crows. There's a hooded courier in here, I believe, as well as some people for the Blackstones. Can't forget them. They've been a great help to us. We have 2 quest icons here.
You heard about the revolt in Oswin?
Got put down by the regent, I heard.
There's Brian.
This about the guild? I swear, I didn't tell them anything. I just took the sovereigns.
He stunned us. He's also a fool to try and fire us like that by himself. See you, Brian. That's off of the course, really. He's one of the dead drops for K.
This land is held in trust for the sovereign Dwarven kings. I cannot allow entry at this time.
King Loghain demands the allegiance of the Desher, or lords, or whatever you call them in your assembly. I am his appointed messenger.
I don't care if you're the king's wiper. Orzammar will have none but its own until our throne is settled.
Doesn't care if you're the king's wiper. He's one of Loghain's stooges. I have urgent need to talk to your king.
Who doesn't? If I don't get in, no one should.
Orzammar has no king. Endrin Idukan returned to the stone not 3 weeks ago, sick over the loss of his sons. The assembly has gone through 12 votes without agreeing on a successor. If it is not settled soon, we risk a civil war.
I am a Grey Warden. This treaty obliges Orzammar to aid me.
The Wardens killed King Cailan and nearly doomed Ferelden. They're sworn enemies of King Loghain.
Well, that is the royal seal. That means only the assembly is authorized to address it. Grey Warden, you may pass.
You're letting in a traitor? And a foreigner? In the name of King Loghain, I demand that you execute this stain on the honor of Ferelden.
Okay. That's enough. Raise your blade if you're so tough.
I will at that. I'm a messenger of King Loghain.
Kill each other as you will, but take your sodding fight off my doorstep.
I like the Dwarven gatekeeper here. He's just like, listen, I don't give a shit what you guys do. I don't care if you want to cut each other's heads off. It's not my problem. Just don't do it right here. He's had a long shift. Let's see what being a sycophant of Loghain gets you, Emmerich. Seems like your mouth cashed a check, your ass couldn't pay up. You're already a bodyguard too. Coward. Dane on Ferelden's honor, like his king, in air quotes, if you couldn't hear the air quotes, didn't just betray the Wardens and their king and abandon them all to be dead. Literally dropped them all off to a massacre at Ostagar. That little dead drop there just exploded in our face, and we are going to take care of that eventually. If a Grey Warden and the King's wipe are just arguing back and forth on the Dwarven doorstep, he gives no shits.
Imrek was barking for a week. Are all humans so touched? You are free to enter Orzammar, Grey Warden. Though I don't know what help you will find.
Not all of them are so touched, but unfortunately a lot of them are. Logain has his share of supporters for some reason.
Atrost Vala, Warden. Your arrival is a mixed blessing. We prefer that outsiders not witness our infighting, but your presence will be tolerated.
I trust Vala.
Fair journeys, Warden.
Now, Orzammar is a beautiful location. The design of Orzammar, the music in Orzammar, the time they took to make the politics and the culture. Orzammar is a very beautiful place.
For carving stone.
Plenty of codexes to pick up in here too, so we're going to be reading a lot in the future.
For the love of paragons, please.
Here's Paragon Auton.
Now that's a thing of
Paragon Bronca.
If you work hard like Bronca,
note of that name.
Orzammar will know your name.
Mother, I don't want to be like her. She...
Don't say that. Not to me, not to anyone. Now get back to the forge. I want to see more details.
You see how Dwarven culture kind of works. Everybody wants to be like the Paragons. Paragons are essentially like the icons of society. They're Orzammar's pop stars and celebrities. Everybody in there is supposed to want to be like them and aspire to be them.
If only you had come at a less troubled
They typically embody a virtue, like there'll be the Paragon of like Smithin, for example. Each cast, I believe, has some kind of Paragon they look up to. Paragon Ferelden.
on it.
Atrost Vala, Warden.
I trust Vala. Lantina.
This should be easy enough. If only you had come at a less troubled time.
Yeah, but were it so easy? It's a Dwarven scholar.
Show respect, Surfacer. You're in the Hall of Heroes, home to the best of us.
I'm showing plenty of respect. The figures are quite grand indeed.
Paragons, dwarves who achieve such greatness, they're considered ancestors even if they yet walk among us. If only we had one now. A unifier. A voice like that, there would be no dissension.
Perhaps I can help.
Perhaps I don't want you to. A Surfacer should not see us in this kind of disarray. Goodbye, Warden. I hope you're not needed.
Yeah, the dwarves is that people are very isolationist and they're also very regal. They're mired in lots and lots of tradition and culture.
Stop fussing with it. You'll make it worse.
They would not like to change any of it.
Right.
Yes,
To them, as
healing.
outsiders,
Don't touch it.
seeing them like this, it's like a
Can I rub it through the bandage?
slight to their
It's
honor.
not really scratching.
Alistair,
They like to be
if
put
you
together.
open that wound up,
We actually
I'm
read a
not
codex
going
that
to
talked
leave
about
you
how
alone.
even back in the
You
First
can just
Blight,
treat it
we
yourself.
were all still
Think
barbarians in
about
hillside
it.
caverns.
Big
Dwarven
bloody
society was
pus
very
and burns
sophisticated
like the
and
flames of our
technologically
rusted
advanced, so
fire.
you can
Don't
imagine
come
they
to me.
kind of still see themselves that way. Like they're above the rest.
It is the Assembly who makes a king, and a king who nominates his successor. None of it is carried in the blood.
Or, as now, when someone tries using the Assembly to pull a coup.
Who's to say what my father said in his final hours, when the usurper Harrowmont was the only one by his side?
I'll have you thrown in prison.
You've bitten off more than you can chew. Handlers, separate these dashers in the Diamond Quarter. I will not have Balin incite a riot.
You'll not speak that way about the man who should be king!
Welcome to Dwarven politics.
Idiots. I won't have fighting in the Commons, especially in front of outsiders. I find that sonic fool, I'll have him in the Legion. Vieta, Surfacer. I'm bid to let you walk the Commons, but keep your place. Warden or not, I want order.
The Blight is coming and I need Orzammar's assistance.
Surface problems. Well, we have no king to hear you. You can join the shouting at the assembly in the Diamond Quarter if you want. Bunch of Desher lords bickering over sand. Balin, Harrowmont. Is one so different? No paragons here.
Sounds like Balin and Harrowmont are the ones to talk to.
They've caged themselves for fear of each other. As you've seen, keeping order down among us working people is dodgy. No place for a proper lord.
Well, of course
Balin
then.
speaks through his second, Vartag Gavorn, in the assembly. Lord Harrowmont speaks through Dulin Ferender from his estate.
You mentioned paragons.
Surfacers appoint no paragons? Truly, you're lost in all that sky. They are the best of us, declared living ancestors. If you must be our warden, at least know us. Go to the Shaper of Memories in the Shaperate, the true bright spot in the Diamond Quarter.
In a city function like this?
See, that's why I don't want you surfacers seeing our worst. You'll think that's all we are. The market is thin, but busy, and the tavern never closes. Bad blood is usually kept to the proving. Should toss Balin and Harrowmont in there, sort this all out in a hurry.
The proving?
Personal battles for honor and ancestor. I don't expect a surfacer to understand. If you must be our warden, at least know us. Go to the Shaper of Memories in the Shaperate, the true bright spot in the Diamond Quarter.
We might do that.
Yes, you should.
Now, we do have a lot of codexes to pick up, and
Certainly build
I'm definitely interested in checking out this proven that he mentioned.
So let's talk about your mother for a moment.
This should be interesting.
Talk about your mother.
Well, there's nothing to talk about. And besides,
Heard this way back in the day.
Scary witch who lives in the middle of a forest.
Did you see that?
Now, we did hear a little about Balin and Harrowmont, but we don't know much about them. So I suppose we should swing by and at least talk to one of them. Look some of the NPCs around here, see what we can learn about these two people. What do you know about this Lord Harrowmont?
Lord Harrowmont should be our king. He was King Endrin's closest advisor, the only one he could trust. Endrin himself, ancestors welcome him, asked the assembly to endorse Harrowmont.
We will have to take a lot of these people's opinions with a grain of salt. We don't know really anything that's going on in here yet. But isn't Balin King Endrin's son?
Aye. What a terrible burden for a father to have only Balin left of 3 fine sons. In the end, Endrin himself recognized that Balin cared for nothing but power. It was Endrin who ordered his son away from his deathbed and embraced Lord Harrowmont as his heir.
Why such hate for Balin?
Everybody knows he killed his brother Trian and let his father's favorite son take the blame. And many question whether Endrin died abed, as we were told, or whether Balin helped him along.
Is Harrowmont qualified to rule?
He is a good man and a skilled general. King Endrin trusted him with his life, and I will do no less.
Skilled general certainly piques my interest, given that we have a Blight up top to deal with. Did you know King Endrin?
Only as a potential match for one of his sons. He was a good king, stern and fair and just.
How did Endrin die?
He died in bed after his eldest son was murdered, and the assembly condemned his second son for it. I cannot blame him for preferring to join the ancestors in eternal peace, if Balin didn't murder him himself.
I should go now.
You come at a sad time, stranger. I'm going home to wait it out. I suggest you do the same.
Unfortunately, that's not an option for us. She did just give us a lot to ponder. She thinks that Balin is responsible for killing Endrin and setting up his other brother.
One day
by murdering the first.
will return. Oh, and on that day,
Seems to have a pretty high regard for Harrowmont.
Exciting, isn't it? I could never go to the surface.
Pay attention as we go around and see if other people would agree with that sentiment or not.
the ancestors.
I knew I should have stuck to common nugs. I've gone and lost them too. I'll never find them the way they skitter. No way I'm going back to that supplier in Dust Town. Guess I'm shutting it down.
These things dangerous?
Gotta boil them before roasting, but otherwise no, safe as sand. Some people swear they make good pets.
Not the roasted nugs.
We should turn up, I say.
If I see any nugs, I'll send them your way.
Good on you, stranger. Only need one to turn this around.
And now nugs are these little, like, naked mole rat pig looking things. We'll keep an eye out for them as we progress through the game. There'll be a couple here and there.
Excuse me, do you have a moment?
Sure.
You look like you're not from around here.
Yes, you could say that.
Oh, wonderful. I've been trying forever to find someone who really knows the surface world. I don't suppose you've heard of something called the Circle?
The Circle of Magi?
I've been trying to reach someone there for years. I've sent missives with every caravan, but I never get a reply. I want to know if they would accept me for study.
Do you want me to ask them?
That would be wonderful. My name is Dagna, daughter of Janar of the Smithcast. Tell them I've already begun reading the Teventer Imperium's Verticum Kadab, and it's just fascinating. Did you know the Imperial Magister Lords once had genealogies of every human family known to produce a mage child? Oh, I'll go pack my bags right now. I'll be waiting by my father's shop.
She's very enthusiastic about all this. And the crazy part of that is the dwarves have zero magical ability. You read in the Codex, they're completely immune to magic. It just, they cannot have it. And yet she really, really wants to go study in the Circle just for the love of the knowledge. It's quite interesting. I think Irvin will eat that up. I'm sure Wynn would too. Surprised she didn't have a comment for that, actually. Dr. Garen.
Greetings, and welcome to Garen Garrison's Luxury Goods Shop. Wow, there are a lot of you.
Garen Garrison,
I've
huh?
never seen one of those before. The things they come up with.
One of those? What, a human? Are you alright?
Oh, I was hoping you wouldn't notice. Most people don't anymore. Or maybe they're too polite to mention it. I had a little incident a few years back. Too much time with the raw lyrium ore, you know. Maybe it was a bad vein. I cut myself and the dust got straight in the blood. Since then, it's been a little hard for me to concentrate. Except when forging, then I'm straight as an arrow. Best work you've ever seen. Look around the shop. See for yourself.
Yeah, we did read about that. When we were going through the Codex, says a mage touching raw lyrium can kill them outright. And dwarves, even with all their resistances, it still can give them dementia and mess with their minds, like this unfortunate guy here. Thanks, I will. Let's see what he has. He does have a Tome of Physical Technique that gives us a talent point. Definitely go ahead and buy that. He has the Rose's Thorn, which is another one of those unique daggers. It is 150 sovereigns, but luckily we stocked up on cash before we came here, so I'll go ahead and buy that. Here's Life Giver, which is a huge ring. Of course, we'll go ahead and buy that. Now here, this is the Golden Mirror. Remember, we talked to Morrigan a long time ago, and she said when she was a kid, she went into the woods for a Golden Mirror, and Flemmer smashed it and cussed her out. Well, I should jog her memory about that. It's gonna be it for him. We did just get a bunch of codexes while we were in the menu, though.
The deep roads are home to the Darkspawn.
Came down here for the runestone and the nug.
Oddly, they're supposed to be safer to travel during a blight.
Take him back to the merchant that wanted them. We're not going to be able to go into the deep roads yet. Not that we even want to. We got plenty of things to do up here first. Here's your nug.
I'm out of the nug game. Got nothing to sell.
But I've got a nug for you.
Saraka, I'm back in the game, such as it is. I don't have much besides gratitude, but find a bunch more of these and I'll toss you whatever I found.
A lot of great beards and mustaches in Orzammar. It's quite the sight. Here's Janar Armorers. It's Dagna. I guess that's her father's shop.
Guard my son, for he is lost in darkness.
Gilda seems to be praying for somebody.
I'm sorry. Did you have an offering for the ancestors? Although, I can't imagine your ancestors reside in the stone.
What were you praying for?
My name is Vilda, widow of Turak of the Smith caste. I pray here every day for my son, Ruck. I only wish I knew whether I should be asking for his safe return or for the ancestors to accept his soul.
What happened to him?
It was 5 years ago. He was only a youngster. He joined a Deep Roads excursion, the only smith to go with the warriors to repair their arms. He was so proud, but he got separated somehow. When they came home, he wasn't with them.
Did anyone go after him?
The captains don't want to lose anyone searching for stray men. Too many were taken by Darkspawn that way.
We shouldn't abandon him. I'll look for him if you want.
How? There is no way except to brave the deep roads yourself.
I'm a Grey Warden. That's what we do.
Warden? So you could do it. Only wardens face the deep roads without a company backing them. Oh, thank you. The ancestors finally heed my prayers.
Take heart, good Widow Filda. We'll do our best.
Please, find me as soon as you return.
Again, I said it earlier with Athras in the Dalish camp, but everybody should at least be allowed to grieve in peace. So whatever happened to her son, we're gonna find out. Again, we're heading in the deep roads anyway. We may as well. There's no reason not to help her with that. Now, bad news, Dagna. I didn't go to the mage circle yet, but I do want to see what your father's selling. I would like to know if he has anything for us.
Welcome to Jannar Family Armorers. I must say, you look like our type of people. Looking for a new set of mail.
What gave it away? All the swords and shields? You know anything about what's happening with the king?
I stay out of politics. It's not good for a smith to get the attention of
The wise man.
grant vendors' licenses. Lord Harriman's a fair man. My father did business with him, and he always paid on time. But the Idukans have served us well. If it is the ancestors' wisdom to keep them on the throne, I cannot object.
I assure you, staying out of politics is way healthier for your brain. Are you part of the Smithcast?
I, for 100 generations. My father made his name by inventing a fall and tacit, which were integrated into the cuirass. But, I'm guessing by your face, you're not a smith yourself.
Just let me see what's in your store.
Of course. Keep in mind, we also take items on trade.
Now, we could snitch on Dagna and tell her father that his daughter's trying to, like, leave, but Orzammar is a very isolationist place. The caste system and the way that it works is, if I told him that she was trying to leave, he would likely just put her on house arrest and not let her, because
It's about time.
the way Orzammar works is once you leave, you're not coming back. You can't come back. And so, we'd get her in a lot of trouble for that.
Get some outside gold in here. Calm people down. Make them think we should open the gates for good. The more cracks in the old way, the better. That's what Balin stands for.
She's an adult, and so I'm very interested in letting her go her own way. Now, he just mentioned that Balin is trying to get rid of the old ways and put some cracks in that old system. So let's see if we can get into some of this with this guy. Your allegiance to this Balin is clear. Why?
Not your business, but I see where the gold is. He's the traditional pick, yet he wants a new way, whether some like it or not.
Okay, so you're just in it for the money. Some say Balin killed his father.
Just as many say Harrowmont. Neither are paragons, and the scales being equal, I go with the promise of more trade.
You approve of this chaos?
Can't find ore without splitting some stone. My investments are solid, I'll be fine. The Assembly has done us a favor. They've shown just how loose the sand is under our feet. It opens people to change.
Right, so this dwarf, all he cares about is money, clearly. He doesn't really give a shit who's in the big shiny chair. He just wants more money, more trade, better business endeavors. A blight is coming. Orzammar can't be divided.
Orzammar will decide what we can or can't be. Blight may be imminent on the surface, but our warriors are well seasoned against Darkspawn. There will be topsiders left for trade. There's no end to you.
Right, let me see what's in your store. Now, if you're thinking that the dwarves tend to be very nonchalant about the blight, like it doesn't really seem like a big deal to them, that's because it's not a big deal to them. They grow up with that. The dwarves are always under the surface. They only go up top during a blight, but while ever there isn't a blight, the reason there isn't is because they're all down here, killing the dwarves. So the dwarves have been here for thousands of years, dealing with blight after blight after blight, essentially, because it's always a blight. Now, it might not be led by an archdemon, but you think there's a lot of Darkspawn up top. The entire Darkspawn, like, population is down here with the dwarves. So to them, it's just another day in paradise. Darkspawn really aren't a big deal for them. At least not the majestic apocalypse it means for the topsiders. We have a Chantry brother here who's a dwarf. Should be interesting.
Maker's blessing on you, brother.
I didn't think dwarves believed in the Maker.
I'm Brother Burkle of the Red Cliff Chantry, returned to my ancestors' land to spread the chant of light.
Even in the very bowels of the earth, we hear no end of this chant.
And that is something to rejoice in, good sister. I'm petitioning to open a chantry in Orzammar.
Whose permission do you need to open a chantry?
The Shaperate controls changes in Orzammar's structure and society. I need the Shaper of Memory's permission to open a prayer meeting.
The Shaper of Memories?
The Shaper of Memories controls the Shaperate, Orzammar's record system. Like the Chantry's historians, but more thorough. They track the births and lineage of every dwarf born in the city, every property sale, death in battle, marriage, or divorce.
Any idea where I could find this Shaper?
The Shaperate is in the prime tier of the city, near the royal estate. Does this mean you will help me then?
Very well. I'll speak with him.
I can see the Maker's hand on your shoulder, guiding you always. Please let me know as soon as you've heard anything.
Now, I make no promises, of course. It's not really my place to institute a religion down here that doesn't belong. But maybe he'll seem amenable to some kind of wisdom. Maybe they just want to earn some favor for the topsiders. There's a tavern. Should be able to get some information from someone in a bar, right?
Oh, wonderful. A Dwarven tavern. I've always wanted to try some of their ale. I hear it's quite potent.
Yeah, I imagine it would have to be. Hardy little people.
A lot of deep roads excursions these days.
There's gotta be some people with loose lips here, thanks to their alcohol, right?
Afternoon, stranger. You looking for a stool to share a brew?
Who are you?
Name's Naveen. I fight with Prince Balin's Expeditionary Field Unit. Yourself?
I'm apparition, a Grey Warden.
Figured as much. Good folks, Wardens. I was in the deep roads when that one came by. What was his name? Dukan, Dunka, something like that.
You knew Duncan?
I met him, sure. Good man. Solid. He knows what we go through in the deep roads. Not many do. Not even the ones who live this close. You have to be on the front lines.
Indeed. You work for Balin?
I go where I'm sent, fight when I'm there, and leave politics where it belongs.
My kind of soldier. Who's your unit fighting?
Darkspawn. Not much use in turning our weapons elsewhere while those vermin still live.
That's a very healthy attitude. I've never been in the deep roads.
Every Grey Warden ends up there. That's where they send you when you're ready to leave this world. Go die in the dark, putting away as many vermin as you can. Getting more crowded these days, though. Lots of people interested all of a sudden. We go back tomorrow, and we're not the only ones.
Yeah, we read a little about the colon in the Codex once Wardens get to a certain age. Who's sending you out?
Balin ordered us in at first bell. He's splitting us into 4 teams to search for some of the lost Tigers. Looking for signs of Bronca, I guess. Seems to be who everyone's after.
Who's Bronca?
Bronca was a paragon, some kind of great smith or whatnot. But she went batty and let her whole house into the deep roads more than 2 years ago. No chance she could have survived. And a lot of good men are gonna die looking for her corpse. Excuse me. This brew is starting to taste awful bitter.
Now, a noble leading that entire house into the deep roads is insane. For reference, that is like an entire generational bloodline. Cousins, nieces, uncles, nephews, like second cousins twice removed. That is everybody. The entire bloodline vanished into the deep roads. That is quite the gamble Bronca took, whatever she was looking for.
Atrust Vala, stranger. You must be the Grey Warden we heard about. Welcome to Tapster's. I'm Cora, your hostess. How may I serve you?
I'd like to hear a bit about the city.
So you come to Tapster's? I guess you're not asking for anything official, or you'd be at the Shaperate. But I can certainly give you a mole's eye view.
Is there any place I should see while I'm here?
The nobles stay upstairs, except when they're slumming. You'll find the assembly there, the palace, the Shaperate, and plenty of estates. Down from here is just Dust Town or the mines, so my recommendation is avoid. It's not part of the city, just some old tunnels where the castlists build their nest. No one goes there if they can help it. But if you want fun, your best bet is the Proving.
What's the Proving?
It's a chance for all the best fighters in Orzammar to test their skills. There's a tournament today. Arenas between here and the Diamond Quarter.
I'm very interested in that. That's all, thanks.
A Grey Warden is always welcome in Tapster's.
Told him I don't understand why the provings aren't open to everyone.
His Lord
It's how
help
the
me.
ancestors show their favor. Do they really need our help to decide who's worthy? And then he practically slapped me.
They use the prove-in, and apparently whoever wins is because the ancestors, which is their version of gods, are shining down upon them.
Lord Dennick Helmy, honored Desher of the Orzammar Assembly, and terrible disappointment to my esteemed mother, who doesn't like me spending time.
Seems like a strong arm is very valuable in Dwarven politics.
You understand what I'm saying, right? On the surface, there are no castes, and it works fine. Am I right, Warden?
Now, this guy is a politician, keep in mind. The Dwarven Assembly is much like the American Congress. They're the politicians of this world. He's trying to get us involved sneakily here. The caste systems are basically the classes. You have castes like the Smith caste, the Warrior caste, the Noble caste, and then you have the casteless, which are like the peasants and the beggars and the slaves of this place. So, you know me. Word travels fast.
You don't get far as the youngest and most outspoken member of the Assembly without keeping an ear to the stone. I heard there was a Grey Warden in town. No offense, but you kind of stand out.
Yeah, I kind of stand up a little few feet taller too. Your views on the caste must be controversial in the Assembly.
Very good. I guess someone already told you I was good for nothing, drinking my life away at Tapster's. Or did they leave off at greatest shame to ever fall upon the Assembly? I've always liked that one. You know,
that's deep.
Most smiths and tavern keeps would make decent deshers if we gave them a chance and a seat in the Assembly. Orzammar are so mired in tradition, no one bothers asking if the castes are even necessary.
So you get to vote on the next king.
Me and 79 other fine, upstanding examples of how someone who's
80
born
members of the Assembly.
Inevitably wants more. They're not fond
a lot of votes you gotta secure. How does the caste system work anyway?
Badly. Oh, you're serious? Well, it's simple, I guess. The king and elected deshers of the Assembly are at the top. Then it's the nobles. Then the warriors and all the craftsmen. At the bottom are servants. The casteless and criminals are below even that. Your caste is determined by that of your same-sex parent. And that's where you stay your whole life, whatever your skill.
And there's no way to get out of that. So if you are a man and your mother was a noble who just happened to get drunk one night and bet a casteless, then the son is casteless because his father was casteless. Same with the daughter. The daughter would be a noble under that circumstance. And so on and so forth. There's no way to be uplifted. If you're casteless and the best warrior in Orzammar, you cannot become a warrior because you weren't born into warrior caste through birthright.
Sit down, have a drink, enjoy life.
You can see where you might run into problems with a system like that.
I can't take it! What? Get away. You'll change like the rest. Monsters hidden in all my friends.
What are you talking about?
They follow you. Once you are in the story, they possess your friends and follow. See? I found copies. All from the same pen, and older than the ones in song. Dormant my arse. Take them. I want out. I won't disappear chasing a lie. I won't.
We've read already a lot of codexes about Unbound, and now we finally get the quest down here in Orzammar. We'll be looking into that while we're wandering around the deep roads. I'm done with the tavern for now. Not gonna run this episode for too much longer, but I do want to get at least a lay of the land before we split the episode. Suppose we can always turn in some nugs on the way too.
You're the best wrangler I've ever seen, but there's more out there.
Appreciate that.
Questions arise regarding Lord Balin's impending marriage to a casteless commoner. Favoritism to the casteless suspected. Nothing I say is provably false.
Ain't that just PJ? Nothing I say is provably false. Doesn't that just ring bells in modern times?
Human doing?
A human is doing what the rest of the dwarves don't seem capable of doing currently, which is think with a level head.
This has dragged on too long. It's an insult to King Endrin's memory.
Yeah, you see, the nobles of Orzammar seem very over this whole thing. Here's Narav. We talked to her already.
I hope you'll support Lord Harrowmont.
Nice to meet you again.
Lord Harrowmont is a weak man, and he will be a weak king. Yes.
You see ride up the street from that guy as this guy, besmirching Harrowmont.
The public has a right to know.
You have him down there saying, like, Balin is marrying like a castless whore, essentially. This guy's just calling him like weak and old and pathetic.
So
Yeah,
this
that's
is
the
the
palace.
seat of the king. Except he isn't sitting there at the moment, I suppose.
Yeah, that's where Balin's gonna be. We are gonna talk to Haramont first.
Old King Endrin would
I
weep
can't
to see
believe
Orzammar
House
in
Haramont
such
would
a state.
overstep itself like this.
Chamber of the Assembly. I'm sure we're not gonna be welcome there. They've been locked in there for months, I think the dwarf said at the start. Looking for this Shaperate. There it is. These sneaky codexes back there. Shaper assistant.
Who would dare take from the memories? Warden, I'm outraged. A thief in the Shaperate. What have we been reduced to?
Did you get a good look at him?
I did. He was bald, with the most garish brand across his head. Almost like he took pride in being castless. Imagine. He's probably in the slums somewhere. As if he'd find a buyer for a stolen tome in Dust Town. They couldn't know the value.
We are heading to Dust Town eventually, so good to pick that up now.
Perhaps you should stand over there instead.
Don't want to be too close to the top side, huh?
Are you with that warrior girl who's always here?
There's a warrior girl who's always here. Maybe she means Alta. Let's see.
Oh, pardon me. Were you looking for a particular volume? Not that I could really help. I don't know the libraries very well. I'm just doing some research.
What kind of research?
I was looking for something about the Orton Tig. It was lost during the last Blight, and there aren't many records left. They were a noble house once, descended from the Paragon Orton, who composed the grand epic of the Seven Brothers and the Ortonic Symphony. My mother's family believes they were descended from Kalana Orton, who was training in Orzammar when the Tig fell. I'm even named for the house, Orta. Unfortunately, any records would be buried in the Tig's ruins, somewhere in the deep roads.
I'm a Grey Warden. I'm not afraid of the deep roads.
A Grey Warden? Mother always said that if anyone could find the Tig, it was the Wardens. I hear Prince Balin and Lord Haramont have both been sending out small teams these days. Yes, if you can find the Tig in any records, that could do it. That could prove I'm a noble. If you could. Maybe now that you're looking. It's almost too much to hope.
We can certainly try. Once again, we'll be heading in there. If we run into anything, we can surely bring it back for her. Doesn't really cost us anything. We're already going in there risking our ass. I'm gonna swing around the library first and pick up all these books.
As you wish.
See how much we're gonna have to read here. It's gonna be a big, juicy episode of codexes after this, I can tell you that much. But I don't mind. It's all interesting. It's all relevant to what we're gonna be doing for the next couple episodes, and they do manage to build a really good universe of characters and politics and motivations and happenings and histories and cultures. It's all very good. I'm actually kind of looking forward to reading about all this stuff. And you have the Search for the True Prophet. The Search for the True Prophet. This tattered tome explores the possibility that Andraste was a powerful mage and not the Maker's Chosen. It seems this book was saved from a fire at some point. Is the Gloves of Diligence to go with the chessplay we found in Haven. Interesting that the other parts of that set are actually in the Dwarven Kingdom. Maybe the dwarves made it eventually. Wouldn't surprise me. They are the greatest craftsmen.
I hope you find what you're looking for.
Me too. Let's talk to the Shaper. Man is responsible for the recording of all Dwarven history, so it's a very important figure in Orzammar.
When I last walked this hall, Endrin was king and Orzammar was at peace. The memories often speak of the swiftness with which change overtakes us. But it is different to see it firsthand. I apologize, Warden. I should not burden a stranger with such thoughts. I am Zebor, the Shaper of Memories.
How do you know who I am?
The Grey Warden's visit has been recorded in the memories, along with all who accompany you.
Let's talk about Orzammar, Lord Shaper.
Ask, and I shall do my best to answer.
What's the difference between an ancestor and a paragon?
All dwarves who die return to the stone as ancestors, to guide their families forever. But only one every few generations rises to paragon. A paragon is a dwarf whose accomplishments change Orzammar so much that the Assembly recognizes they've been born blessed. They are venerated as living ancestors and found a new noble house forever bearing their name.
And that's what Branka was?
Branka is a paragon, now and into death. She was born a smith, but her inventions caught the Assembly's eye. Before she had seen 20 years, she created a smokeless coal. It could burn in a cave without vents and no one would choke from it. It earned her paragon status.
She sounds very talented. Where is Branka now?
She went into the deep roads 2 years ago seeking out secrets of the ancient smiths. She never returned.
How did the caste system come to be?
According to our legends, 7 brothers founded our empire. The youngest, Bloodlik, was the wisest and was chosen king. His children formed the noble caste. The eldest, Giachet, trained his sons to defend their king. They became the warrior caste. Shotgyar founded the artisans. Orzatyar forged our first swords. It was Orzammar who dug the mines that became our city's foundations. The twins Koapar and Noct both founded trading houses, but Noct was wounded in battle. On his recovery, he swore to serve his brother's sons.
What about the casteless?
The casteless descend from criminals and those repudiated by their own families, or who chose to go to the surface and live by human laws. They have no ancestors to guide them and no families to claim them. They should not have been born. Their parents defied their shame and brought cursed children into the world. It's better they die young.
So you can see how they think about all those lives that are being born into these lower classes, and the entirety of Orzammar is essentially based on the founding families. You had the trade family, the warrior family, the noble family, and the crafting family, and then they've eventually graduated into giant caste houses. It seems easy for you to dismiss them.
Their births are not recorded in the memories. In Orzammar, they do not exist. Is there something more pleasant you wish to discuss?
Disgusted by talking about the non-nobles, are we? Tell me some of Orzammar's history.
We were a great empire once, outnumbering even humans and elves. We traded with your Tevinter Imperium, and our land stretched as far in the deep roads as theirs did above. Kal Sharok was capital then, but we lost too many battles. We lost our golems, and we lost our territory. Now the Empire is simply ruined tunnels filled with Darkspawn.
What are the deep roads?
They were once our highways beneath the mountains. Now the Darkspawn claim them and few venture there, except your order, who enter the deep roads when they retire, so they can die slaughtering as many Darkspawn as possible.
How did you lose your golems?
The Paragon Caradon, a smith of unsurpassed genius, invented the golems. For years they were our weapon against the Darkspawn. One golem is worth a dozen dwarves in battle, but Caradon's tide is far into the deep roads. When it fell, we lost his secret to creating golems. There are books about it along these walls if you would read more.
What's Taig?
They are to us what a colony is to surfacers.
Where is Kal Sharok?
At the other side of the old empire. During the last blight, the kings of Orzammar knew they couldn't hold everything. They sealed the deep roads, abandoning everyone still trapped in far-flung settlements. It was the only way to survive. Kal Sharok is the only other city to outlast the blight. We only rediscovered them recently, and they still haven't forgiven us.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. That's rough. They just sealed them in with the Darkspawn horde and hope the blight took them fast, I guess. Enough history. Let's talk basic Orzammar again.
I will settle your mind if I can, Warden.
Alright, let's go back to my first questions.
Please, speak your mind.
I would like your permission to open a chantry here.
That is an odd request, especially for one so new to our city.
I come on behalf of Brother Burkle, cleric of Redcliffe.
I thought so. This is not the first time he's made this plea. My answer to Brother Burkle hasn't changed. So I ask you the same. On what basis would you have me insult the ancestors and overturn 2,000 years of tradition?
Right, so I essentially don't want to overturn anything. Tradition is very important, and I'm glad that the Orzammar people have kept their ancestors so close to their hearts. I wish everybody would do that. However, what harm would it do to let him preach? If people want to worship somebody else, surely they have the freedom of expression to do so. Or at least to hear the argument. And again, I'm not here to preach to anybody. Brother Burkle, with how traditional Orzammar is, Brother Burkle might be assassinated day one. You saw what happened when we walked in here. Somebody could just walk up to him and chop him down. It's the way of Orzammar, but who am I to stop him from taking that risk? The option should always be there, right? So, what harm would it do to let him preach?
He seems a charitable man, but that is a thin thread on which to tie Orzammar's traditions. Very well, he may hold a prayer meeting as he requested, if not build a new temple to his god. At least the words would come from one of our own. Now, is there anything more?
There we go. No. Thank you for your time.
I will record this conversation in the memories. I hope I do not come to regret it.
I don't think you will. I certainly don't. It was an enlightening conversation. And we did get a deal, at least, for our friend back there, Burkle, Brother Burkle.
This should be easy enough.
We will go ahead and give him the good/potentially life-threatening news next episode. We're not going to head back there now. But right now, I'm probably going to head all the way back to Haramont's estate, and then we'll probably wrap up. I think this episode's been going on for a while. I don't want to make it too long. The Royal Palace, that's a Balin. I do want to talk to Haramont first and kind of work our way across. Haramont seems to be the general here. Balin is the prince. I doubt he's led much in war, so I'd rather talk to the general before I talk to the politician. That's Haramont's estate. Right. Since we are already here, this seems like a pretty good vista to wrap up on. I love the art style of Orzammar. This place is beautiful. They did so good. Comparatively with the rest of the game too, I think this is probably the best location in the whole game. In terms of content, length, quality, even like graphical fidelity, you can tell that they made this pretty late in development, just being that it seems to have gotten better as you go through all this. They seem like they were very passionate about Orzammar. Very cool place. Alright, that's enough of me rambling. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe, leave a like and a comment. If you want to support the cause and help improve the channel, as always, there's a tip link in the description below. Otherwise, stay tuned and I'll see you guys soon with more Dragon Age Origins. Take care, guys. Have a good day.